Hello everybody, welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And today we're going to be taking a look at a piece from Steve Bahr from the latest issue of the Heron's Nest with the first line of Sunrise. With that said, you know what time it is. Time to sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be with you again for another episode of Haiku Talk. We've got a fun one today. Let's get right to it. The poem goes like this. Sunrise. The horizon wet with finger paint. Sunrise. The horizon wet with finger paint. Such a fun, playful poem. And that third line, man, that's where it all comes together. This poem comes to us with the normal fragment and phrase format that we've seen a lot, with the first line being the fragment of sunrise, and the phrase being the horizon wet with finger paint. Now let's take a look at this line by line and see how it works. So that first line is a single word, and I love, love, love single word lines. And it's sunrise. Sunrise. Now, I've read 1,000 sunrise haiku. I've written a number of sunrise haiku, and every time I start off a poem with that line, it makes me smile. It's sunrise. It's the beginning of a new day. And being someone that's been lucky enough to watch many sunrises in my life, it's truly a magical moment, where the whole world, your whole world anyway, starts fresh and new as the skies brighten, the birds start to chirp, and you have the whole promise of something new to take place that day. It's great. It's you want to capture. You want your first line of your haiku to capture the reader, to bring them in, to put them in a specific place. This puts us in a specific time of sunrise and allows us to figure out where we might be at this point. And whether we're inside looking out a window, whether we're at a campsite watching the sunrise over the, through the trees, or wherever you might be, beautiful beach, wherever. It allows us to go someplace very specific. And hopefully it's a delightful experience for most people. I mean, I could certainly understand if you're a night person, seeing the sunrise might be, hey, you've stayed up all night. It's sunrise. Or you, for whatever reason, have to wake up early and you happen to catch the sunrise when you'd much rather be sleeping. So lots of ways to enter this poem with that word sunrise. The next line, the horizon. The horizon. Now that sunrise is put in a spot in a line of vision, the horizon. I mean, that's kind of what I was imagining anyway. The sun rising, you see, but the horizon seems to suggest a wider plane of field, a wider plane of sight. It's not just like coming up between a couple trees. You can see the horizon, a wide swath of land with the sun peeking up. Maybe it's peeking up over the ocean. Maybe it's peeking up over a lake, over a vast field of corn, over a desert, a patch of desert. Who knows? But there's horizon, and the sun is rising over that horizon. So I am seeing this vast, big thing. A big landscape is coming up before me, and I'm basking in this and feeling the immensity of it and really kind of basking and taking it in. And then we get to line 3, where the twist happens. And line 3 is wet with finger paint. Wet with finger paint. And now we realize we are looking at a child's drawing. Most likely, because children are most likely the ones that are using finger paint. And when you're looking at it, a wet finger painting It's likely a kid showing you what they painted. Maybe you're a teacher in class. Maybe you're a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, whatever. You're looking at that freshly painted, finger painted piece, and suddenly this whole thing changes. The whole poem takes a turn. And it's very delightful and very playful. And I go right back to thinking about my own finger paintings when I was a kid. And suddenly I'm starting to question, is this a haiku or is this a senryu? I mean, it's dealing with a natural phenomenon, but now we're dealing with finger painting, which is a very human kid type thing. But I'm going to leave it as is. We're going to call this a haiku, because it is still dealing with a representation of the sunrise, and us paying homage to that sunrise through a painting or through a poem. In this case, it's kind of doing both. It is a poem about a painting, about a sunrise. That's still a very natural moment to me, a way of interacting with the natural moment. And it's just a very delightful poem. For me, being in the summertime here in St. Louis in the Northern Hemisphere, it's a very warm summer fun poem. It puts me in a warm room with lots of light, and seeing all sorts of colors on this finger painted horizon. And it was just really, really a delightful piece. Hopefully it captured you as well. Hopefully it gave you a little smile, that turn in line 3. And you do want to have your haiku. They're in senryu. It's great when they make that twist. Sometimes the moment is perfectly captured and it is what it is. There's no turn. There's no surprise. There's no aha moment. That can be just fine and okay. But most times we like to have kind of an aha moment in the piece. And that aha can be delightful, it can be sad, it can be any number of things, but it makes it where the poem turns and finds its focus, and suddenly you get to the end, and now you want to reread the whole thing because you have a much bigger picture that you're looking at, a much bigger moment than what you started out with. And this one, man, I got to the end wet with finger paint, and I'm like, oh yeah, the sunrise, the horizon, wet with finger paint. I want to hang this poem on my fridge with a magnet. It's just wonderful and lighthearted and playful, and we need that in our lives. I always talk about life, especially if having gone through some tough times in the last couple of years. Like in life we have a big crayon box of emotions that we get to play with. A lot of times we deal in kind of the middle range of colors, or for lucky enough, we get to color with bright colors and happy colors, and we don't generally get into the dark colors of the crayon box too often. This poem uses the brightest of colors in the crayon box, maybe the craziest combination of colors, depending on the kid, depending on what you want to envision here, but it is bright and happy and joyous and full of finger paint fun. Thank you all for tuning in for another episode. It's been great spending some time with you here. Hope everything all is well and bright and finger paint picture ready in your life. Tune in next time for another episode. Until then, peace, enjoy your beverage. Have a great day.